52458, cleared for takeoff.
Yeah, I'm smelling a little bit of smoke from it right there. This area here to the left is, hundreds to 1,000, maybe 1,000 acres of, 90% mortality. Whereas over here on the right side would be, classic, very low intensity. A couple of little torch out spots already showing up. It's just not that big of an impact. Low scale disturbance, the fire down on the surface that we can't see from up here was removing a lot of the fuels that have accumulated on these hillsides. So it's good from a fuels reduction point of view. It's thinned the forest out a little bit. It's created a mosaic. When you get a fire like what's outside the window here, where there's a lot of green trees left, what that does is now for the next half century, it's created a different fuel bed for the next fire to come through. It will be a repeated mosaic in the sense that some of the areas will also not burn again, and there the trees get bigger and live longer over time. And then you grade all the way up to the south-facing slopes and rocky areas that are the shrubs that are burning every 10 or 20 years. So we just need to, get beyond our fear of fire and our sense that fire, when it's out here in the forest, is unnatural and, it destroys the forest. It destroys trees and behaves in a way we just don't like it. But most of the area, and I think including this fire, when we ultimately have all the data and all the images, most of this was actually good fire from an ecological standpoint.
These forests evolved with fire. Fire shaped these forests. Everywhere we look, when we drive through the gorge, when we drive up the Clackamas like we are now, these forests have all burned. They're going to burn again. Yeah, I think this area up here is actually really going to be interesting because we moved from this high severity fire here where you've got a lot of standing dead trees. There's a lot of natural regeneration, so the conifers are coming back in. And as we move a little further upslope, we move into an area where it's more of a low severity or moderate severity fire, where you've got quite a few standing live trees intermixed with a few of those snags. So it's a nice mosaic right through here. These are live trees, but the base of the tree looks very, very black. And if you look up the tree a bit, you can see how high the fire came up. It's called the scorch height. And you can see the height of the black on the tree. And even though the fire went up these trees probably 10 feet, the trees are fine. These Doug fir trees have very thick bark that protects the live tissue inside from the heat of the fire. So they're able to survive quite a bit of heat. We're looking up here at an area that really just the understory burned. So the fire came through and cleared out all that underbrush, all the young growth, the young trees and the woody shrubs, the herbaceous vegetation, and left the tree canopy. By mosaic, I mean patches of different fire severity. So there's places where there was a very hot fire and burned with high intensity. And you've got other patches that there are live standing large trees where fire just kind of burned underneath. So, I think about it like a quilt where there's different pieces. I love recreating in burned landscapes. I'll preferentially go run in an area that's been burned, or go camping in an area that's been burned, because they're spectacular. You can see forever in a burned landscape. You see wildlife that you'll never see in a closed canopy forest. There's more light available on the forest floor, so some of those seeds will germinate and through time, grow up and become the next forest. Another thing that's going to be really important with this fire is that it's right above this river, and so all these trees that are going to come down, all this woody material will end up eventually in the river, and it really helps contribute to the salmon habitat. I like to think about forests in the same way that we think about a campfire. When you build a campfire, if you only put large logs on there, it's not going to burn, right? When you build a campfire, you put paper in there, you put kindling in there, you put maybe some grasses in there, and that's the stuff that's really going to get your fire up and going. The forest works the same way. In the forest, the stuff that carries the fire are the grasses, the woody shrubs, the ferns, the small trees. That's what's going to drive your fire behavior. It's not those big, large trees. So selectively removing the big trees isn't going to do anything to change fire behavior. This was not a disaster. You know, this is a reset event for that forest. We'll get to go out there and see the different ages and stages of what a forest can look like. There will be some patches that are completely untouched that look exactly like they did last year.